announcer, as we know, as Owen Hart was going to make a very spectacular superhero-like entrance from the rafters, and something went terribly wrong here. And something went terribly wrong here. And something went terribly wrong here.
How's everybody doing today? So I finally made it to a location I've always wanted to go to. I'm here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And this video is about Owen Hart, the late, the great Owen Hart. I'm going to start off the video though showing you his family home. This was owned by his father, Stu Hart. And he bought it, I believe, in like 1952 for $25,000. You got to see this place. It's huge. And there's a little plaque out front. I'm going to show you, and the world famous dungeon is in the basement. Now, it's not owned by the Hart family any longer, but it's now protected. They were going to tear it down, but there's now all a new townhouse complex built around it, and this house is here to stay, thankfully. It has so much history inside of it. This is the Hart family house right here. So that's it there. Look at the size of the property. Like, I'm pretty far back. Looks like somebody made a walk up there recently, but that's the Hart family house. It's a landmark and it's a tourist attraction here in Calgary. Wrestling fans make pilgrimages out here all the time. I was a big wrestling fan when I was little. By the time Owen started wrestling, I was not into it as much. I stopped watching wrestling, but I kind of still followed it every now and again. And the story of Owen Hart and what happened to him is absolutely tragic. And everybody knew. I think not just the wrestling world, just everybody around the world heard the story. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a bit. Yeah, so down below in the basement, there's one room, and it's called the Dungeon, and that's where Stu Hart, who founded Stampede Wrestling, which was a wrestling organization based out of Calgary here, trained a lot of wrestlers. I mean, his sons, Brett and Owen, his granddaughter, Jim Neidhart, I think superstar Billy Graham. I'm not sure if both of the British Bulldogs. For sure, David Boy Smith. I think my kid, David Boy Smith married one of Stu Hart's daughters. But yeah, this is a mecca for wrestling fans. And that dungeon, if you see it, I'll show you some right now. Actually, what it looks like. It's just like a small room with one hard mat, and I was fascinated watching videos of it just yesterday. But the holes in the ceiling and the wall, I mean, it's not exactly a professional gym, but it's hardened these guys, and Bret Hart said it was like mixed martial arts almost going on down there. Like, it was brutal training. I mean, we all know pro wrestling is not real, it's entertainment, but you have to be an incredible athlete to do it, like beyond. You have to just have to have incredible skills and possess knowledge, and wow. They're athletes. There's no doubt about that. And some of the stuff that went on in that house is pretty crazy. I'll show you over here. Walk along, and I don't think it's much of a plaque. I thought it was going to be a plaque more about the house, but from what I can tell, it just says the Hart House, or Hart House, right there. Foothills Athletic Club here. And you see there's wrestlers there. Now you may notice this big sign here, well, not big, but the big chain with no trespassing. I was told that, or I read that people own this house now and live here, but I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. There's a carriage house in the back. I want to go around back and take a look because there's apparently a second, smaller house in the backyard. I want to see it. Things like that interest me because it's that big of a house that it has a second little house. But yeah, that's a Stu Hart's house. He passed in, I believe, 2003, Stu Hart. And yeah, a lot of history in that house. It's a big family, and apparently every Sunday there was family gatherings with just multiple family members from all over that would come for every Sunday for big dinners and things like that. So there it is, world famous Hart House right behind me there. We're gonna go somewhere right now and pay tribute to Owen Hart. And yeah, tragic ending for Owen, to say the least. If you don't know the story, I'm gonna tell you about it. All right, let's go. As you can see, I mean, it's just the property is really, really big and surrounded by just absolute beauty. Like, look at those trees with the snow. It's just gorgeous in this area. And yeah, all new, I mean, not new, I guess maybe within 17, 20 years. Houses in and behind, but I'm sure some of them have been here longer than that. I don't know the exact history of the area, but I know that they were trying to zone the area and to tear down the mansion because this is a huge plot of land. And they wanted to put more houses here, but people stepped in and said no. And the city finally agreed. But these houses here look new. I'm sure somebody from Calgary can write in the comments and tell me. And back there, those look new too. And I know that the road behind the house is kind of a busier road, so I'm hoping I'm able to stop and show you what I want to show you. So here I am around the back. There's gonna be a loud truck coming behind me. And I think it's Patino. One second. I was looking this up online, like on Google Maps, how I could get to the back of the house because it just seemed like it was a busy street, but nothing much really going on. It is COVID traffic, but there's a side of the house. Yeah, it's called Patino Drive if you want the back view, and this is what I want to see, the other house that's in the back. That's just crazy. Look at the side. I mean, that house itself is a house. But yeah, there's a back view of, and a different angle of the Hart House. 2 porches, one in the front, one in the back. I believe the main house, the one in front of me, has 22 rooms, 4 fireplaces. I can see 1, 2 fireplaces right there, just from there. It's called a coach house. I think 3 or 4 chandeliers that were taken from an Edmonton hotel. I don't know if those are still in there or not. But yeah, it's a really cool view. And they got it roped off in the back too. No trespassing sign has seen better days, but you're not going to trespass here. There's a back deck. I'm sure a lot of the Hart family had a lot of fun back here through the years growing up. Wow. I've always wanted to come and see this house for so many years. I'm glad you're along to see it with me. Such history behind this house. It's crazy. Okay, let's keep going.
Well, it's one of the most shocking things I've ever seen. This is not your typical wrestling storyline. This is a real situation. let everyone know that Owen Hart has died. Owen Hart has tragically died from that accident here tonight.
So here I am at Queen's Park Cemetery in Calgary. About a 25-minute drive from the Hart House. And like I've said before, I mean, this cemetery is huge. It's very, very big. His parents, Stu and Helen, aren't buried here. I thought they were. Owen's parents. They're not buried here. They're buried at another, or they're interred at another cemetery here in Calgary. So Owen Hart was a wrestler in high school. That's where he met his wife, Martha. And at first he didn't want to be a wrestler, but then it was the family business, right? And he went into wrestling, and he was successful. I mean, he was part of the Hart Foundation, Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion. He wrestled in Japan for Stampede Wrestling, and of course the WWF, which was known as back then WWE. I'll probably keep referring to it as WWF, just because that's what I grew up on. And I always just say WWF. So he was successful and well-liked and loved by every other wrestler and everybody that talks about him, since he was one of the nice guys. And he had planned on retiring, I think, about 5 years later. So he died in May of 1999. But he'd been planning on retiring after 5 years. And apparently on the road he spent little to no money. He was just always saving. He had 2 little kids, so he's saving for his family. And in Kansas City, Missouri, what happened was in May of 99, he had his alter ego was the Blue Blazer. And so he was up in the rafters, and the plan was, he'd done this stuff before reluctantly, but to be lowered from the rafters. And then when he gets really close to the ring, he pretends to struggle with the harness, and then he falls down like in a comical effect. But that night, being broadcast live, now while he was up in the rafters getting ready, they had a video montage playing. It was a pay-per-view special, so the video montage playing. So TV viewers did not see it. People in the audience did. What happened? They thought it was a doll at first. They weren't sure what happened. It was very confusing. The announcers, I think it was Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, witnessed it all. And they had to announce to the pay-per-view crowd what happened. So as he was being lowered, he had the harness around him. He was 78 feet above the ring. It's about 24, 25 meters. That's huge. That's a huge height. And there's a quick release. And there's supposed to be other safety harnesses attached, and they weren't. From what I've read, they weren't. The other safety harnesses weren't attached. It's just the one harness. Well, there's supposed to be backup ones. Now, his wife said perhaps he was struggling with the cape to get more comfortable and accidentally released the release. Well, yeah. And plummeted to his death, 78 feet, hitting the top rope. It's about a foot over from the turnbuckle, and fell over onto his back into the ring from 78 feet. He didn't die instantly, but within minutes, severed his aorta, which caused his lungs to overflow with blood, and blunt force trauma, essentially, is the main cause of death, but the severed aorta is what happened. And right here is his grave. And the show went on. Shockingly, the show went on that night. Now, like I said, the announcers had to announce to the viewers what happened, but they didn't say. Emergency personnel came on the scene, got Owen to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The people watching the match live in the arena, in Kemp Arena, did not know that Owen Hart died, and they didn't even know if it was part of the show or what. And the next night, like I said, the show went on. That's a big controversy. I mean, how do you go on? It boggles the mind to me. How do you go on? How do you keep the show going? Bad decision. the next night they had a tribute. Another pay-per-view special was scheduled, and they made it as a tribute to Owen Hart. And everyone spoke so fondly of him. There's a huge funeral here in Calgary for him. Here's some pictures from the funeral. And it was devastating for his family. Like I said, I mean, it was childhood sweetheart was his wife, 2 young kids. He just built a house here in Calgary and was planning to move into it soon. Very, very, very tragic. And the tragic nature of the way he died, it's preventable. And a stunt like that. And then when you add in his young age, only in the 30s, and then kids and little kids having them, and also the fact that everybody speaks so fondly of him and loved him. He was a great guy. Just makes it all just heartbreaking. And it's never easy to find graves, like I said, especially in a big cemetery. This one is huge, but I knew the block number. Some people say to me, why can't you find them faster? Well, it takes, when you're out here, even if you get the plot number, sometimes you don't have the exact GPS coordinate, even get the plot number, it's just difficult. Cemeteries are huge, and if there's not a map, if they're closed, it's very difficult. But this one wasn't sorted. He's right by the side of the road. You got to go all the way to the back of the cemetery, section I, and you're going to see it from his grave from the road right here, section I, row 25, and just find section I in the back. So here's Owen Hart's grave. Really, really sad to see. So you can see some people still come out and leave some stuff. It says Owen James Hart, May 7th, 1965 to May 23rd, 1999. Our family chain is broken and nothing feels the same. But as God calls us one by one, the chain will be linked again. Martha and Owen forever. And then here, Oje loves dad. Athena loves dad. I believe the pronunciation on the left is Oje, I think. His children would both be in their 20s by now. It's a long time to go without having a father. Sure, the family comes out quite a bit to pay their respects and clean it. Looks like some Christmas flowers here already. Right beneath 2 giant, I believe they're spruce trees right here. You can see the road. So if you come into section I, it goes into a triangle. And just at the top of the triangle, that's where you're gonna find Owen Hart resting. There's always something possibly on the back. Never know. Yes, his family name, Hart. There you are. Okay, so that's my visit to Owen Hart here in Calgary. A video I've always wanted to make him on a personal level. I was a huge wrestling fan growing up, huge. And like I said, I kind of got out of it at a certain point. But Bret Hart was one of my favorite wrestlers, and then I learned of Owen Hart. Up and comer. So a lot of wrestlers tragically have died. Big wrestlers from the 80s, 90s, various ways, so many different ways. It's a weird phenomenon. And but I think Owen Hart's death is definitely one of the strangest and saddest and most preventable of all. It's a heartbreaking thing. And there's the grave of Owen Hart. Okay. Peace out. Peace and love to Owen Hart and his family, to his wife Martha, and peace and love to you. Peace out.